Hey everybody, good morning. This is Mr. Ainsworth, and we're going to get into your homework. Yes, your homework solutions here for Lesson 12 on unit conversion, or what's called dimensional analysis. And as I said earlier in this video, it's a really good idea to have a calculator because you don't want to do all this by hand. Even I don't. So get your calculator out, your scientific or your TI-84 as I'm going to be using up here, and get ready to check and go over your homework here. So on the back side, or after my examples down here, come on computer, catch up here, is your homework here. So come on. There we go. All right. So on the back side here, I asked you guys to try a variety of different conversion problems. So let's take a look at a few, okay? Get out your red pen, correct your mistakes in red. Don't erase your mistakes, just correct them in red, and get your calculator out, like I said, side by side, because we are going to use it extensively. So in the first one here, we're going to take 565,900 seconds and convert it to days, okay? And it seems like a hard problem at first. However, it's not that bad, because you guys know how many seconds in a minute, and how many minutes in an hour, and how many hours in a day. So we're just going to convert it one unit at a time. So our first conversion factor here is that we know, and don't look up here, just use your basic tools, basic knowledge, that we know that for every minute there's 60 seconds. And the question is, how do you write that? How do you write the conversion factor? So watch first. Watch me do it incorrectly, and then I'll do it correctly, okay? So don't take notes for a second. I know that there's 1 minute for every 60 seconds, or 60 seconds, all right, per 1 minute. And that's a fact. Everybody that has a watch and has learned how to tell time knows there's 60 seconds per minute. However, this is written incorrectly because seconds doesn't cancel out with these seconds. Seconds times seconds gives you seconds squared. Okay, and then the seconds don't cancel out and end up with minutes. So this is an example of how not to write it, or how to write it incorrectly. I want the seconds to cancel out, and I want minutes to appear in the numerator. So what we're going to do is do it correctly. I know that there's, for every 1 minute, all right, there's 60 seconds. Now notice that now, okay, the units cancel out. Take your red pen and cancel out the proper units here. Seconds divided by seconds cancels out to 1. The units, like I said in my lesson video, cancel out just like numbers do. All right, anything divided by itself is 1. They cancel out. Now I have minutes, but my goal is to go from seconds to days, right? So I'm not done yet. So what I need to do is multiply by another conversion factor. I know that there's, let me see, how many minutes per hour? I know there's 60 minutes per hour. So do you go 60 minutes per 1 hour, or 1 hour per 60 minutes? And so, you just try it out. Try something. 1 hour per 60 minutes. Take out your red pen. Show me the proper canceling. And this tells you that you're doing it correctly, and you're setting up the conversion factor correctly. All right, now I'm in hours, but I want to get to days. And all you have to know is how many hours per day. So there are 24 hours per day, right? So 1 day, there's 24 hours. Okay, cancel out the units properly. Hours divided by hours is 1. And we have a long expression to handle. Now, anytime you see this fraction, this division line here, that fraction bar means division. So we're going to take our first number here, enter it in our calculator. It's 565,900. Make sure you input it correctly here. Times it by 1, times it by 1, times it by 1. That doesn't affect anything. So we need to divide it by 60, and then divide it by 60, and then divide it by 24. So divide it by 60, and then divide it by the second one, divide it by 60 again, and then divide it by 24. Enter. And you get about 6.497, or roughly 6.55 55 days, all right? 6.55 days. Why? Because that's our ending units right here. See, they match up. All the other units canceled out, and we end up with days. So roughly 6.5 days. There's 565,900 seconds. And that's how you do it. Make sure your units cancel out properly. That's a key concept. Let me write that down. Make sure, okay, the units cancel out properly. Because if they don't, that means you are not setting it up correctly, and you're not doing it correctly. All right? And you'll never have to remember whether you multiply or divide, because the setup will tell you what to do. Take my first number, divide it by 60, divide it by 60, and then divide it by 24, and I get a result. It's the easiest thing in the world once you get the hang of it. So like I said, this is, in these videos here, you pause and play and rewind as much as you want. So let me just make sure you understand that. Use your videos correctly. You pause, and you pause and play, okay, and if need to be, you rewind so you can hear it again. And all the videos here, use them effectively. All right, number 2, you're going to change years into minutes. Okay, so you start off with 17 years, right? So you're going to multiply it by something, all right? And I know how many days in a year, so I might as well start by converting years to days. And guess what? I know that there's 365 days to 1 year, right? And you might say, why do you set it up this way? Why don't you write down 1 year to 365 days? Well, I want the years to cancel out, and I want to end up with days. And if I wrote it the other way, it wouldn't be correct, okay? But now I have days, and I got to convert days to hours, and then hours to maybe to minutes, and then I'll be done, right? So I know that for every day, there's 24 hours, or there are 24 hours per 1 day. That I do know. That should be a fact that you know. And so cancel out units properly. Days cancel out, see? Switch colors so you can see it. And then I'm in hours now. I want to get to minutes. Well, I know there are 60 minutes per 1 hour. So I multiply it by 60 minutes per 1 hour. And then cancel out units properly and end up with my minutes. See? This tells me what units I end up with. If all the other units cancel out and the only thing that's left over in the numerator is minutes, then my answer is in minutes. And notice that these numbers are all in the numerator. And so all you have to do is multiply them together. So let's go ahead and do that. So hit the clear button. I'll start over. 365 times 24 times 60. Hit the enter button. And there's 525,600 minutes in that many years. So 525,600 minutes in 17 years. All right, how about that? Well, let's do some more, right? Because we're checking our homework here. So we're going to change 43 miles into feet. So 43 miles, all right, mi is miles, times what? Well, up here, I know that there is, for every mile, that's 5,280 feet. Or you reverse that, 5,280 feet per 1 mile. All right, cancel out the units properly. Miles divided by miles cancels out. You end up with feet. And then get your calculator out. Now 43 times, so clear, 43 times 5,280 gives you 227,040 feet. So 227,000, let me bring the calculator back, 40 feet. That's how many feet there are in 43 miles, okay? People always ask me, Ainsworth, do you multiply or divide all these numbers? Especially when you do the metric system. Do you multiply or divide? And your teachers just had you basically memorize back in the past, but using dimensional analysis or unit conversion here, you don't have to remember whether you multiply or divide because the setup tells you. Okay, now in the States, we measure weight in pounds or in ounces, and in Europe, they use kilograms. So how many kilograms are there in 165 pounds? I don't know, so let's figure it out. Okay. So let's go back up to the top into our list. Pounds, let's find pounds up here. Do we have pounds up here? Oh, right here. In 1 kilogram, there's 2.2 pounds. Or with 1 pound, LB is pound, gives you 0.45 kilograms. You can use either one. Okay? So I'm going to use 1 pound per 0.45 kilograms. So I want to multiply it. Now, how do I write that? Well, let me write it the incorrect way first. So 1 pound, LB is pound, per 0.45 kilograms. Now, pounds times pounds, look at the units here and here. Pounds times pounds give you square pounds, or pounds squared, which is not what we want, people. We don't want pounds squared per kilogram. And that doesn't even make sense. All right, so this is a really good example of how I didn't set it up properly. Okay. In fact, you know what? I'm not going to erase it. This is incorrect. Let me do it correctly over here. All right, so here we go. 165 pounds, lb is pounds. Okay. Times, let's do it the correct way now, 0.45 kilograms per 1 pound. Now, if you cancel out correctly, now we're rocking. All right. Now we are going to get a good result. So let's multiply these together and see what happens. 165 times 0.45 gives you about 74.25. 74.25 what? Kilograms. All right. The units tell you what your answers represent. So if you left over kilograms, your answer is in kilograms. All right. So if you have, if you like in weights, if you go to the gym or go in your, whether you're at school or at LA Fitness or Gold's Gym, whatever, they have their plates in kilograms and they have them in pounds. You can convert one to the other. All right. When you're at the gym, pull out your handy dandy calculator and convert. That'd be pretty funny. All right. In between sets, convert kilograms to pounds, or back and forth. They'll think you're weird, but just go with the flow. All right. How many meters are in 100 yards? Like, this is the length of a football field. So how many meters are there in 1 yard? So let's go up to the top and let's get a relationship between the two. So in let's see, a meter. In 1 meter, here we go. 1 meter is 3.28 feet. This is the one we want right here. All right. So let's use that conversion factor. So 1 meter. Oh, we got to get to feet. Or let me see. You got yards. Let's see if we have one in yards. Yard equals feet. Feet to yards. No. So I tell you what. Let's convert to feet first. Because I have, this one relates meters and feet, so I need to convert to feet first before I use it. Well, I know that there's 3 feet per yard. I know that, let me see, it's right here. All right, 3 feet per 1 yard. Hopefully you know that already. All right, so we have 3 feet per 1 yard. All right, so we cancel, boom, and you end up with 300 feet. And we should know that because in a football field there's 300 feet or 100 yards. But anyways, if you didn't, you just learned something. Now we got to convert feet to meters because we want to get to meters, right? All right, so let's go up to the top. Right here, for every meter, there's 3.28 feet. All right, that's what I need. So let's use it. So for 1 meter, there's 3.28 feet. Cancel out the units properly. Feet divided by feet cancels out. And you have something left over here. So what we want to do on the calculator is take 100 times 3 and divide it by, because that's what this division line means, divide by 3.28. So take 100 times 3, divide it by 3.28. And you get about 91.46. So 91.46, and look at the units, meters, right? Meters. All right, let's continue. Having fun. You're getting used to it here, hopefully. So how many miles are there in 22,647 inches? I have no idea. All right, I'm being honest with you guys. I have no idea. So let's figure this out. So before we go, we can't go from inches to miles, but we can go to inches to feet first and then feet to miles. All right, inches to feet, because I know how many inches per foot. All right, there's 12 inches per foot, or 1 foot equals 12 inches. The units cancel out properly there. I end up with feet, but I need to know how many feet per mile. So if you forgot that, no big deal. It's right here, 5,280 feet per 1 mile. I have those things memorized, and hopefully a few of you guys do too. So for 1 mile, there's 5,280 feet. Cancel out the units again. All right, feet cancels out with these feet, and leaves you with some answer in miles. So let's figure this out. I got to take 22,647. This times 1 in the numerator, that has no effect, so I have to divide it by 12 and then divide it by 5,280. all in the calculator. So my first number is 22,647. So 22,647 divided by 12 is in the denominator now. You just divide by all the numbers in the denominator. Divide by 5,280. Then you get 0.357. All right, so 0.357 what? Miles. So about a third of a mile. Okay, not a mile has a lot of inches in it. Okay, because it's a long distance. And there you go. All right, let's do some more. Here we got how many feet are in 2,678 centimeters. So you need to know how many centimeters in an inch and then how many inches in a foot. So let's go up here. So there's 2.54 centimeters per inch, and I know there's 12 inches per foot. So I need to use this one and that one right there. You should already know there's 12 inches per foot, but if you didn't know there's roughly 2.5 or 2.54 centimeters per inch, you just learned something. Okay, so we're going to go centimeters, all right, to inches, and from inches to feet. Okay, here we go. So 2,678 centimeters. I need to multiply it by how many centimeters per inch. So let's go back up there. All right, right here. There's 2.5 centimeters per 1 inch. So 2.5 centimeters per 1 inch. Is this correct? Is that correctly written? Do the centimeters cancel out properly? The answer is no, because centimeter times centimeter, centimeter squared. Okay, I need to reverse this. So this is an example of how not to set it up. So let's do it right. So 2,678 centimeters times 1 inch per 2.54 centimeters. Now cancel out the units, and you'll see you're writing this and doing this correctly. And then we need to go from inches to feet, and hopefully you know that there's 12 inches per foot, or 1 foot per 12 inches, right here. Cancel out the units, and then go for it on your calculator, right? So here we go. So we've got 2,678, so 2,678 divided by 2.454, because it's in the denominator here. So we divide by 2.54, divided by the 12, all right, and we get 87.86. So 87.86 feet. All right, that's how many feet are in that many centimeters. This is called unit conversion because you're converting from centimeters to feet, or for whatever. Okay. All right, we have a few more to do, so let's go for it here. We got 60 miles per hour to meters per second. This is what we are used to seeing in a car. When you look at your mom or dad's speedometer, it's measured in miles per hour, mph. Or you might even see on the inside of the instrument kilometers per hour like they do in Europe. But how fast is it in meters per second? You know, I don't know. So let's figure it out. So it's 60 miles per hour written as a fraction. Let's convert miles to, well, let's go back up to the top here. Let's see. We can convert miles to, we got to go miles to meters. So we go miles to feet and then feet to meters. There we go. So let's do that first. I'm going to go miles to feet and then feet to meters. Now I know that there's 5,280 feet, all right, per mile. Okay, per 1 mile. Now, if you cancel these units out as you go, you understand what we're left over with. I'm left over with feet per hour. And I don't want feet per hour. I want meters per second, which is written like this, right? All right, so I got to go feet per meter. So I'm going to use this conversion factor now. I know there's 3.28 feet per meter. So, or 1 meter, not mi, just m, 1 meter per 3.28 feet. All right. Cancel out units, feet cancel out, and I end up with meters per hour. I want meters per second, so now I got to change my hours to seconds, and that's no big deal. I know that there's 60 minutes per hour, so 60 minutes or 1 hour per 60 minutes, M-I-N, minutes. Cancel out the units. Hours divided by hours cancel out. And now, right now, I have meters per minute, but I want meters per second. So the only thing I have to do now is get my minutes to seconds. No big deal. I know there's 60 seconds per 1 minute. So, or reverse that, 1 minute per 60 seconds. Notice that seconds is in the denominator. That's where I want it. So cancel out the minutes properly there. And what do we have for our units? We have meters in the numerator, seconds in the denominator, and guess what? That's meters per second. So when I multiply all this stuff together, I get meters per second. Question is, what do we get? So starting off with the numerator here, let's get our calculator out. 60 times 5, 60 right here, times 5,280, all right, divided by 3.28, because it's in the denominator, right? Divided by 60, and then divided by another 60 again. Let me just bring it over here. Divided by the last 60 here. So divided by 60 again, because you had to do it twice. Enter. All right, 26.829 roughly. So 26.829. Let me write it clearly. 26.829 meters per second. That means every second the object goes roughly almost 27 meters. That's pretty fast, by the way. Okay? All right, and that's just something that you got to get used to. You convert one to the other by using your what's called conversion factors. All right? Now, let's reverse it. Let's go meters per second to miles per hour. This is the opposite. So we have 130 meters per second. Now, let's handle the time first, because time is easier to handle because you guys are used to time. Okay? We know there's 60 seconds per 1 minute. Okay? Cancel out. Boom. I know there are 60 minutes per hour. So 60 minutes per 1 hour. Cancel out again. Minutes and minutes cancels. And now I have hours in the denominator, which is what I want. I want miles per hour, where hours in the denominator. But I got to go from meters to miles. Okay, so let's handle that. Now, we did that just in number 8, right? So to go from meters to miles, I'm going to go meters to feet first. So there's 3.28 feet per 1 meter. And right now, look at that. I'm going to cancel out the meters, and I end up with feet now. I have feet per hour. I'm getting close. And I also know that there's 5,280 feet per 1 mile. So for 1 mile, because I want it in the numerator, because this is miles per hour here, okay, equals 5,280 feet. And if you do the last canceling of units, you'll see what you have left over, miles per hour. Okay, and that's what we want. This is the setup in miles per hour, or you can say MPH. So what in the world is all this? We've got to multiply 130 times 60 times 60 times 3.28 and then divide it by 5,280. So here we go. Start off with 130. So clear out 130 and then times 60 times 60 times 3.28 divided by 5,280. Enter. And you get about 290.727 miles per hour. 290.727. What happened there? 727 miles per hour. See, 130 meters per second, guys, that's running over at like 1 1/3 football fields in 1 second. All right, no one on the planet, not even a cheetah, can handle that. So this is fast, extremely fast. I mean, that's the speed of probably a dragster, 290 miles per hour. Okay, very, very fast. Okay, and these next few examples here, you know, once again, we're just doing the same old thing with different numbers here. We're just getting the idea, and after you do a lot of these, you kind of get the idea of how it's done, and then when the light bulb goes on, it'll be clear. All right, it just takes a whole lot of practice. Okay, on this one here, we got 1,000 100 feet per second. So feet per second. And you want miles per hour. Miles per hour. So same sort of process. You got to change feet to miles and then seconds to hours. So here you go. It's like a broken record again. So starting with the time, okay? I know that there's 60 seconds per 1 minute, and the seconds cancels. I know that there's 60 minutes per 1 hour, and so the minutes cancel. And now I have feet per hour. So now you look at the feet, and how many feet per mile? We know that, guys. We did that earlier. We know that there's, in 1 mile, mile here, there's 5,280 feet. So you cancel out the feet. And what do you end up with? Miles per hour. Okay? And that's how it's done. And then you start multiplying 1,100 times 60 times 60 and then divide it by 5,280 again. So let's try it. Starting off with 1,100. So clear out 1,100. All right? Times 60 times 60. So times 60 times 60 divided by, because it's in the denominator, 5,280. And you get 750. 750 miles per hour. 750 miles per hour, or you can say mph. That's fast, man. That's over 3 football fields per second. I mean, now you're getting close to a bullet, okay? Bullet speed. Okay, bullets go faster than that, but that's close to bullet speed. Spider-Man, Superman speed, okay? All right, a few more to go. 53 yards per hour. Yards per hour, ooh, weird. Okay, so you don't usually see that, but that's, it's just a math problem. Who cares? So yards per hour to inches per week. So inches per week. Weird. Okay, so what is that? Let me see. We got to convert yards to inches. No big deal. Hopefully you guys know that in every yard, where is it? Well, there's 3 feet, but then there's, hopefully you guys know that in 1 yard, write this one down, there's 36 inches. Who knew that? All right, 3 times 12 is 36. So if there are 3 feet and every foot has 12 inches, then 3 times 12 is 36 inches. Add that to your conversion list there. So let's convert yards to inches. So I know that there's 36 inches per 1 yard. All right, cancel out the yards, and we have inches per hour. But I don't want inches per hour, I want inches per week. So we got to convert the hours to weeks. So there's 24 hours per day, 24 hours per 1 day. And I know that there are 7 days per week, so there are 7 days, all right, per 1 week. Okay, and so you cancel out the days, cancel out the hours, and look what's left over here, guys. Inches per week. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, so we have to multiply all these numbers here together. So let's do it starting with a 53. So clear it out. 53, all right, times 36. So times 36 times 24 times 7. Boom. Right there, 320,544. So 320,544. All right, inches per week. Inches per week. Wow. Wow. Maybe that represents, I don't know, the pace of something. Okay, that's maybe the distance someone or an animal walks in a week in inches. I have no idea. I didn't make up this. So, but that's how you do it, guys. All right, just playing around with what's called unit conversion. All right, so pounds per week. Oh, so suppose an animal eats 721 pounds of something per week. All right, what is that in kilograms per second? Not that he can eat that fast, but what would it be per second? I don't know. Let's figure it out. So we got to convert pounds to kilograms, and then we got to convert weeks to seconds. All right, so let's do one at a time. So let's go pounds to kilograms. So let's go up here to the list. Pounds per kilogram. So it's right here. So 1 kilogram equals 0.45 kilograms. Okay? So 0.45 kilograms equals 1 pound. Cancel out units properly to make sure you're doing it right. Now I've got kilograms per week, but we don't want week, we want seconds. So I know there are 7 days per week. So in 1 week, there are 7 days. Cancel out. Weeks cancel out. I end up with kilograms per day. I also know that there's 24 hours in a day, or in 1 day, there's 24 hours. That's a fact that everybody knows. And if you cancel out the units there, days cancel out, and then you end up with hours. And then I also know that in 1 hour, there's 60 minutes. We're getting close. 60 minutes. So cancel out there. Hours cancels out. Now I have minutes, and we're one step away. And in 1 minute, there's 60 seconds. And so what do we end up with? Okay, so let's find out. Let's see here. We end up with kilograms per second. Okay, so what do we get? We have 721 times 0.45 divided by 7, divided by 24, divided by 16, divided by 60 again. All right? And so let's perform it. Okay, so 721, let's clear it out. So 721 times 0.45, because it's in the numerator, right? Divided by 7, divided by 7, divided by 24, divided by 60 twice. So divided by 60, divided by 60, hit go. And that's 5.36, all right, kilograms per second. So 5.36 kilograms per second. Okay, kg is kilogram. That's over 11 pounds per second. Okay, that is a lot. 0.45 divided by 7. Let me see. Let me just double check that. Divided by 7, divided by 24, divided by 65. Yeah, that's it. Oh, no, wait a minute. Whoa. This is the wrong answer. See that right there, scientific notation. Wonder what happened here. Let me change. If this happens to you, let's figure out the problem here. I got to change the mode. Let me remember how to do that. It's in scientific notation, so we need to move the decimal place 4 units back. So this is times 10 to the negative 4. So it's, let me just 5, 3, 6, and we got to move it 4 places back. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's actually this right here. So it's kilograms per second. So very, very small amount per second. That's the actual answer. I didn't see the scientific notation. Let me bring my calculator back up. And let me see if I can change the mode of this. Mode, float, scientific, classic. Float. That's pretty good. So, I just want to see if this will change it here. No. So I'll tell you what, we'll just keep it on float. Okay. So we've got a very, very small amount per second. That's not very much per second. Okay, and the last one here, you got 88 inches per second here. All right, what is that in miles per day? All right. So if something travels 88 inches, which is not very far, okay, it's a few meters, and per second, how far is that per day? I don't know. How many miles per day? So let's figure it out. So how many inches? Let's go inches to feet and feet to miles. So because I know that there's in 1 foot, there's 12 inches. Watch the units cancel. See? Now I have feet per second. And then I know that in 1 mile, there's 5,280 feet. Cancel them out. The feet cancel, and now I have miles per second. So I'm very close. All I have to do is convert seconds to days, and I got it. So times I know that there's 60 seconds per minute. I know that there's, in the seconds cancel, I know that there's 60 minutes per hour, so the minutes cancel. And I know that there's 24 hours in a day, so times 24 hours per 1 day. And then my last canceling, hours cancel out, and I end up with miles per day, which is my desired units. So what does this equal? I don't know. 88 times 60 times 60 times 24 divided by 12 divided by 5,280. So let's start off with clearing the calculator and start off with 88, and then we'll multiply it by the 60s. Okay, so here we go. So 88 times 60 right here, times 60 again, times 24, and then divided by what the numbers in the denominator. So divided by 12, divided by 5,280 is 120. So this is 120 miles per day. So miles per day. And that's actually far. That's like from here to San Diego, guys. All right? 88 inches per second is 120 miles per day. Wow, let's just make sure of that. Let me just double check my work here. Inches cancel out, and then feet. And then seconds cancels out, minutes, and then hours, and then you got miles. So yeah, sounds about right. Okay? And that is how it's done. And I'm too tired to do the rest. I'll do the rest later. So you guys can figure it out. That's a lot there. So check your work, finish your assignment, and I will see you in my next lesson here. It's Mr. Aynes. I'm signing off. Bye-bye.